Hello, everybody. We are in Mosport, Canada, just north of Bowmanville, Ontario, and east of Toronto. We are about to have the Spec Racer Ford Pro Series, the round 2 of 5 races that count this year for the championship. We're looking at the grid as the race is about to unfold. You see Warren Stillwell on the pole. Working with me is David Hobbs, Derek Daly in the pits. Stillwell is the defending champion from last year, but he got off to a bad start this year and needs desperately to win this race. See the field streaming out, 39 cars, 20 laps. This track, a historic track, 2.45 miles around. The weather absolutely beautiful. After a foggy, cool morning, it is clear. It is early summer here north of the border. There you see the cars streaming down into turn 1, a turn that used to be a great deal more dangerous than it is today. The guardrail having been moved back a little bit, but it is still one of the few tracks left in North America which is extremely hazardous.
A very challenging track, Sam. 10 turns. The winters haven't treated this track nicely. The track is pretty rough. It's taken some wear in its time. As you can see, it's pretty narrow. These aren't very big cars, and they fairly well fill it up. And as I say, 10 turns in just 2.5 miles, so the drivers are constantly being busy. The 2 hairpins at the bottom of the hill turn, the Moss turn, which is turns 5 and 6. As you exit 6, it's a long climb all the way back up to the top of the hill, so they need every ounce of power that these cars generate. About 100 horsepower and 1,600 pounds, so they've got their work cut out around this little track today.
The start coming up in just a moment. The term Spec Racer means just this, that the cars are all basically identical except for those colorful paint jobs. 700 of these cars have been built in the United States or more. If you wanted to buy one, it would cost you about $20,000, and that includes the engine. They weigh about 1,600 pounds, have 100 horsepower, and we will see, David Hobbs, 130 miles an hour or more out of these cars up the back straight, where they're just starting to go now here on this warm-up lap.
It's certainly got to be one of the most successful spec racing series in the world, with over 700 of these cars having been manufactured. It started back in about 1974, 84. The cars haven't really changed much, and the engines have changed over those times. Had from Renaults to Ford. There you see the track map. As you can see, it moves all the time. The start-finish line. From there on, it's slightly downhill all the way to the hairpin in the far right-hand corner of the picture there. And as you turn around that last right-hand, tight right-hander, it's uphill right to that fast sweeper at the top of the hill. Very fast sweep, and then of course you've got to juggle through those S's. Here you see that sweeper, in fact, at the top of the hill. Come over that blind brow at about 130 miles an hour in these spec races. The pace car lights are out, driver's arm up. So they're about to take the flag momentarily. You can see the colored cars there, a great deal of sponsorship on these cars, and a very, very, very enthusiastic crowd of people. And I tell you what, there's only 3 seconds covers this entire 39-car field, so very, very close racing expected coming up.
1 turn to go. Watch Warren Stillwell in that red car on the inside, the left of your screen. He is the defending champ and the pole sitter in car number 29. James Gofrey alongside him in the car with the polka dots. We are about to have the start. They're on the start-finish straight right now. Stillwell on the inside, Gofrey on the outside.
Very controlled start. There's the green flag, and they're off.
Field fanning out behind as Stillwell takes the lead. Warren Stillwell with Gofrey on the outside going into turn 1. Incident-free so far through this difficult first turn.
From the championship point of view, Stillwell has to win this race, and he wants trouble for Gofrey because Gofrey won the first race a few weeks ago. So Stillwell has no points, although he is last year's champion, as they stream through that difficult downhill left-hander, which is turn 2. Coming up to the turn 3, a right-hander.
Stillwell in the lead, Gofrey in second. David's point exactly that Gofrey won the first race and Stillwell finished very badly out of the points. Trouble now in the back of
Johnny
the field.
Marigi from Woodlands, Texas. His sponsor is Great Expectations. Unfortunately, the Great Expectations came to nothing today, unfortunately, for John.
This is the 2 hairpin section of the track. We're going to have another look at the incident that put that driver off the track.
Ooh, they touched as they went through turn 2, squeezed him off to the outside there, jumped over the curb onto the grass. Whoa, jumped over the little gully there. So Johnny Marigi's day not getting off to a good start at all.
Field streaming up that backstretch, accelerating out of the hairpin to a top speed of 130 miles an hour. There's Marigi starting to hopefully get back in the hunt. He was in the middle of the field when that incident occurred, so we may see some passing from him, assuming his car is okay. These are robustly built tubular space frame chassis, and they take a lot of pounding before they break.
They've got some fairly good aerodynamics. They get a bit of downforce from the top surface of the car.
John Collier has seized second place in that blue number 88 car. James Goffrey now running third. So this is exactly the kind of thing that Warren Stillwell wants to see.
Yeah, he needs to see Goffrey go back as far as he possibly can. Stillwell is, of course, the defending champion in this series, and he's also the defending SCCA amateur champion as well.
Keith Scharf in car number 16 running fourth. The leaders stretching out a little. Despite the incredibly close grid, David, they still do tend to stretch out from time to time when the race actually begins. Look at Stillwell. Warren is pouring it on.
Well, of course, these cars, whoa, there's the 27 car. That is Lance Miller from West Palm Beach, Florida. He says for his sponsors, I found it at Carlisle. he found the grass this time. Here we see him going off again.
Watch Miller go off here.
Is that turn 2 again? He just
it is. That's
himself.
Obviously very tough there. I think they're very nearly flat out as they come down through there. And the cars have relatively soft suspension, and they get a lot of roll, and the car gets very hard to control over those bumps.
They also have relatively small tires for a 16.
Oh, look at this, a battle for the lead. Exciting as they come up the back stretch. Warren Stillwell still just a little bit ahead of John Collier, but Collier now better positioned on the inside. There is a right turn coming up over that hill crest. Collier on the inside as they approach that right turn has Stillwell blocked out of position. John Collier has taken the lead from Warren Stillwell.
So Stillwell, of course, had to back out of it a little bit there, and Goffrey just very nearly had him down the inside there.
Goffrey in third in that car that has those small polka dots on it. Here comes that play. Terrific move by Collier down the inside.
Collier got, as you say, Collier positioned himself right coming up the straightaway, so he was positioned right for that right-hand sweeper, got inside, and Stillwell lost some momentum. And look at Goffrey right behind him, and right behind them is the 16 car of Keith Scharf.
A terrific start here in the Spec Racer Ford Pro Series. We will be back with more. Ontario, just east of Toronto, Canada. A terrific battle for the lead in the Spec Racer Ford Pro Series. And David Hobbs working with me, Derek Daly in the pits. I'm Sam Posey. We have in the lead John Collier, who took the lead just a lap ago, right about here in a move, David. I'm not sure if I was Warren Stillwell running in second place. I'd have let him make.
And he's trying to do the same thing to Collier as Collier did to him last time, getting on the inside as they come up to crest the hill. So now Stillwell's on the inside for the upcoming right-hander, snags the lead back. Goffrey still waiting back there in third spot. He qualified second. But now Collier in the 88 car firmly in second spot. But that front 6 cars absolutely tied together there.
Terrific. The key, obviously, in driving these cars is not to scrub a lot of speed off as you go through the turns.
Well, of course, I think that's what's been happening in turn 2, which is a downhill fast corner, a very fast corner, and there's no camber to help you. And of course, he's got relatively small tires. Here you see it again. Stillwell using the draft, NASCAR style, right behind Collier as they come up the hill. Collier leaves him room at that little right-hand kink on the straight. Stillwell gets inside of him, and then as they come over the crest at the top of the hill at about 130 miles an hour, Stillwell's got the right line for the upcoming right-hander. But look at Collier all over Stillwell like a cheap suit now as they go through turn 3.
Down in the pits, Derek Daly has a story. Derek, what's up?
Hey fellas, here's a big name who's taking a big interest in what happens here at Dorsey. You used this as a stair step to stardom yourself, didn't you?
I did indeed, Derek. You know, I was in this in '84. I won the Pro Championship in '85. It was the first time I ever made money in racing, and it did, in fact, open doors for me to do other things. I tell you what, these guys are having a riot here today.
But it's nice to see that you have the interest still to come out here and watch some of these new drivers. But are there many people that you race against still here?
Well, surprisingly, there aren't. I look at the grid today. There's 5 or 6 guys that were with me 10, 12 years ago that are still running these. So obviously a lot of fun and a lot to learn out here. There's no power reserve, so you have to be absolutely smooth.
Are they fairly simple to maintain and to race if you don't have a big team?
They're the best to maintain a race. And we didn't do much maintaining. We did more drinking of the beer afterwards, polish it off. You know, they're really very stout cars, and you do more racing than working, which is unusual in racing.
It is indeed unusual, but great to see a name like Dorsey Schrader still has the interest to watch what these boys in the spec racers are still up to.
Derek, that's where I certainly first heard of Dorsey Schrader. He won 11 of 12, I believe,
In
that
the bar,
year. Well, it's easy to find him there even today. That's what.
Look at this top 7, absolutely covered by a blanket, as Stillwell still leads Collier. Goffrey behind, losing just a little bit of ground now, but very fast and furious. That top 7 is joining battle, and in fact, by racing amongst themselves so hard, there's the number 8 car of Neil Tilbor. They've allowed the next gaggle to catch up to them again. Collier again trying to get around the outside of Stillwell as they come into that tricky turn 3.
Yeah, you battle for position like that and you slow yourself up. I mean, if you could possibly find a partner to cooperate with, to draft on the straight and then not carve you up, I think that's one of the reasons we saw both Collier and Stillwell allow each other to get by, don't you, David, to keep it clean.
And there goes Goffrey down the inside of Collier into turn 5. This is a Mosport double apex right-hander. This is a very, very important corner. Goffrey jumps over the curve there. He'll lose a little bit of momentum doing that. And he doesn't want to lose momentum in these cars because with 100 horsepower and 1,600 pounds, you've absolutely got to maintain every ounce of speed that you possibly can. Because if you lose half a mile an hour at the bottom of that long straightaway, boy, you're in trouble. Collier again goes around the outside.
So he took advantage of the fact that Goffrey was a little bit slow off that turn, having made the move into second. And now Collier, well positioned, going into this long right-hander. Collier takes second place back from Goffrey. Terrific battle here, and very, very clean racing, David.
Well, with those two cars, Collier, Goffrey, look at Goffrey there, right behind Collier.
Maybe
Absolutely
I spoke too soon. And that's Scharf there, Keith Scharf in number 16. So we have a battle here, really 5 cars, slightly detached from the next group of cars. You see the lead 5 there. Probably, I think it's easy to say, even at this point with just 20 laps in the race, that the winner is going to come from those top 5.
The 74 car is Peter Frank, and then behind him is Neil Tilbor in that yellow number 8, who has lost a little bit of ground there now.
Let's take another look at this. Watch those middle 2 cars right there. There's Goffrey giving old Collier just a little bit of a push. Now that's
Dale Earnhardt would be proud of that.
Proud
My
of
goodness
that.
me, if Dale Earnhardt's watching this, he'd be saying, "Go, Jimbo."
You think you would approve of a car that looks as if it got chicken pox? I'm not sure about that, maybe. All right, terrific. Now they start up the back straight. Very good with Stillwell, still the man of iron nerves, able to stay ahead here at Mosport, Canada. A lot of racing left to go. We'll be back. Stay with us. Back at Mosport, Canada, one of the great historic racetracks of the North American continent. We have Warren Stillwell right there in car number 28, that red car, leading John Collier, number 88, the blue car. A battle that has been waged from the very beginning of this race. A good battle also for second place, involving James Gogri in car number 29, that white car that you see in third place.
Oh, the 74 car there getting a little bit out of shape. That is Peter Frank. He's from Colorado.
Frank is trying to make a move on Scharf.
There's Leo Capaldi, who's running 6th.
Good
right behind him,
Neil
Tilbor. Neil Tilbor slipped back a place.
There is the battle for 6th place.
So now the 68 car of Capaldi, having got around Tilbor, he might be able to drag himself away and try and catch up with that front group of 5 cars there.
But they're going to have to cooperate. A look up front, Warren Stillwell still hanging on to the lead. It is incredible, as Dorsey Schrader did, oh, let's see, 11 years ago, David, in cars that are this closely matched, to somehow, and you've seen Warren Stillwell has been passed. It's not that he blocked for the entire lead at all. He allowed John Collier to get by him, a clean pass, and then he cleanly repassed. And yet he continues in the lead here.
And Collier trying to use that draft like we saw Stillwell earlier. Now, is Stillwell going to leave him room down the inside? He is too, by golly, because Collier is right behind him in the draft. He's going to tuck out here.
Oh, he takes a look, but not enough time to get by. Collier's pass ill-timed, if that's what he was thinking of.
Now, these cars, of course, have got that shovel nose, which, of course...
Oh, different lines there, though.
Yeah,
look at that. Sharply different lines. And I think Collier is now trying to set up a move, don't you, David?
I think he was trying to get to make sure he had a good exit off this turn here, so he could maybe get alongside going into turn 1.
Yeah, but in fact he's lost ground, and now Goguri in that white car with the dots on it is close behind him. This is terrific because it's very tactical racing. It's obvious they have a reasonably easy time actually handling the cars through the curve, so it's where you place the car and how you time your power moves and everything that really count.
All of them using every inch of road there, all climbing up the curves on the exit of the corners here. And of course, this is what Stillwell wants. He wants those 3 cars behind him to duke it out just as much as they possibly can, because that will allow him maybe to pull away a little bit. But boy, these cars are so evenly matched, it's hard to believe anybody's going to do much pulling away, which makes, of course, Dorsey Schrader's 11 wins in this series when he did it back in the mid-80s so impressive, because to win 11 of these races obviously is extremely difficult to do.
And Stillwell's domination in the last couple of years too, he's been terrific. Now Scharf, number 16, has definitely joined that lead group there. Scharf now in this race with a real chance. He maybe, I would say arguably, David, has been the fastest moving car in the last couple of laps, because he detached himself from a battle for 4th that was going on behind the leaders and is now right up in there with the leaders. So it is Warren Stillwell, John Collier, and James Goguri leading Keith Scharf, the leading 4 at this point. First there were 6 or 7, and now there are just 4. Here's the race for 5th, the 2 blue cars.
That's Peter Frank and Leo Capaldi in the 74 and the 68 car. Whoa, Capaldi put a wheel right over the edge there just to get a good line going into the corner, to give himself some impetus. And right behind him in the yellow car is Neil Tilbor. Again, look at them all using all of that road, because they don't have much rubber. These are very small tires. They're only 5-inch wide wheels on the front, 7 inches on the rear, the sort of thing you'd see on any decent street car. So they don't have a lot of tire. And so you really got to drive these cars with the utmost precision so that you don't lose any momentum.
You don't want to scrub off the lead, the speed through the turn. There is the leader, still Warren Stillwell, and you see how he, as David suggests, he sweeps so wide into the turn, right down onto the apex and then back out the outside. Keep an eye on the surrounding terrain of this racetrack. Don't just focus on the cars themselves, and see what a fabulous setting it is. Up and downhill, they go through this plunging downhill, dropping, at least 40, 50, 60 feet down. Now they sweep back up at this hairpin combination. Here's that critical turn that you've got to get the power on and have a smooth exit, because now a long uphill straight, which you described.
If you come up there slowly, you're done for. And of course, I noticed too, the sun's getting pretty low, as you can see from those shadows. And as they go into that turn 6, the sun is right in these guys' eyes, so it's very, very difficult for them to set that corner up. And look at this terrific battle now for 4th, 5th, and 6th here between the 68 cars got around. That's Capaldi has got around the 74 car of Peter Frank, and right behind them is still Neil Tilbor. Neil Tilbor, who qualified in 8th spot.
Tilbor with that spectacular looking yellow and maroon car. We have completed 12 laps, the leaders have, of the 20, so we're over halfway. The leaders, as we speak, are starting their next lap, the 13th. So we're 2/3 of the way through. There is Warren Stillwell still hanging on.
Stillwell, as you say, hanging on from Collier. Collier at the moment is spending all his time holding off Goffrey in the polka dot car. And as I said earlier, the longer these 2 guys can keep duking out between themselves, the happier Stillwell will be looking in his mirrors as he sees them do that. And of course, Frank in the 60s, Sharp in the 60s car will be doing the same.
We will be back in just a moment. A lot of racing yet to come. Stay with us from Mosport, Canada. pit entrance, car number 11, coasting off the road with damage to the rear bodywork. It's a good opportunity, David Hobbs, to take a look at the engine, which is in the back.
Wow.
See exactly what happened there.
He must have spun, hit the wall. The car immediately behind him had to take to the grass to miss him. That's Dwayne Nyer.
Nyer.
So his day is done. The car looks badly damaged to me. The suspension looks broken, and the front suspension looked bent as well. I think he gave the wall a pretty good slap.
He's from DeLand, Florida, so he's come a long way for the disappointment of that. Back in the lead, we still see Warren Stillwell hanging on from John Collier, and of course in third, James Gophery. So the lead group, which still includes Keith Sharp.
That bit of bodywork is lying right where they are at the moment, so that's why.
Oh, look at that! Absolutely nose to tail.
Gophery again, Doug.
He loves to do that. Where is Dale Earnhardt? I think you're absolutely right. He
The
might.
16
Oh, there's Sharp down
going
on the
down
inside. Going to give Gophery a bit of his own medicine, I think. We're going to see body contact in that battle for third, which gives the battling duo back there in fifth and sixth an opportunity too, because this highly volatile situation among the leaders. Look at Stillwell, absolutely smooth through those turns, despite what's going on right behind him.
The one thing he doesn't want to do at any stage of the game here is panic, and of course he starts to drive defensively and block Collier, and therefore start taking just slightly the wrong line. That's what slows the leader up, and that's what Collier is hoping he will do, but Stillwell seems to be resisting the temptation at the moment to do that, and is running his own race out front, taking all the lines he wants to, using plenty of road, leaving gaps, but he knows that Collier can't get in there until Collier's just a little bit closer. Meanwhile, of course, Collier has been driving defensively to keep Gophery behind him, and that's what slows them up, but obviously not much, because they're still just a few feet behind Stillwell in the lead.
The body work has just been put over the wall, so that part of the track is cleared up. The course workers right on top of that situation. We are halfway through this race. I called the laps earlier, but we are now exactly halfway through a 20-lap race, and still Warren Stillwell leads a race that he took the pole for, jumped into an early lead, relinquished the lead very briefly to John Collier in a battle on the straightaway, and then he retook it in a beautiful drafting move and has held it ever since.
Now Warren Stillwell, as I said before, is the current champion both in the professional ranks and of the amateur, and his dad, of course, does all the prep work on these cars for him, so it's a great combination there between dad and lad. Lad's doing a good job at the moment.
See, the four leaders have detached themselves now from the battle for fifth, which still rages. We see those two cars just coming into sight now. It's really a three-car battle for fifth, David.
That's Capaldi. Frank in the 74 car tries to go down the inside at turn 3 there. Then, I mean, that rear shot there, you can see just how skinny these little tires are. They're only a 205 section tire on a 13-inch wheel, so they don't have much rubber on the road. These guys have really got to tiptoe these cars around because it's bumpy here. There's a lot of off-camber corners, and it's an old surface. It's very polished over the years. It's probably the same surface I raced on in the Grand Prix here in 1967.
No,
so it's
couldn't be that. It couldn't be that old.
Well, I know there's not many people that old, but there it is from Sam Summer. Now Tilbor in the 8 car has pulled out a lot, so that front group really sort of detached themselves from the rest of the field. And you wonder how, because the field is so close on the grid.
I know it, but it's funny as the laps unfold, just the smallest things add up. The leaders, for example, although they have raced wheel to wheel throughout much of the race, have not held each other up. They've used their there, but there. You see Scharf making a bid, but not upsetting Gophery's line.
Now Gophery, of course, is leading the championship at the moment. He has won the one race they've had this year. This is the second race. Gets up there. I've been stressing how small these tires and wheels are, and of course the other part of the spec series here is these cars all race on a spec Yokohama road radial, so they're all racing on street radial tires.
There's John Harris, I think, in number 14 has come a cropper.
He's come a long way for this too, all the way from Texas.
We are going to take a look now as we see Harris. Oh, that's a heavy impact.
Very heavy, and a couple of them involved. There's another car just to the right of the picture there, which we
see him moving, though, looking fine. And of course, now there's Harris out of the car. That's really good. Again, we said these cars are strong. I think that's proof positive right there. good strong car and a good barrier. Those tire barriers, there's nothing better to hit if you're going to hit something with those. He looks...
John Harris looking pretty disgusted because
the luxury of looking disgusted.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And we are still with the leaders as they battle for the lead. And there is the battle intensifying for third here in Mosport, Canada. Oh, and Scharf still making that move into third. We'll be back with more racing in just a moment. Very exciting Spec Racer Ford Pro Series from Mosport, Canada. We have had a change in the last lap in the battle for third as Keith Scharf in number 16, that white car that you see now right in third place, took the spot away from James Goffery, who leads the championship, but not this race. Goffery in that other... Oh, here we are, battle now. Collier making a move. This has not been tried before among the leaders.
Ooh, down
in turn two. Very tricky stuff, and Stillwell let him have it.
Whoa!
Stillwell in trouble now. Stillwell in the red car.
That's going to let the other two through.
Yes,
so
Stillwell, a major development. Stillwell drops back to third, and now Scharf, who was fourth just 2 laps ago, is now running in second. Keith Scharf in that number 16 with the white nose, you see it right there, has come from fourth to second in 2 laps.
And that incredible racing up front has allowed the next group of 3 cars to catch up, the 68, the 74, and the 8. Here you see him.
All right, Scharf still in third at this point as Collier begins his move going into turn 2. The move on Stillwell, which will see Stillwell forced to the outside.
Right over the edge there on the inside apex, but he keeps forcing his way on that, pushes Stillwell to the outside, who then climbs the curve.
Look at that. I think Scharf maybe makes contact with Stillwell, David. Is that how Stillwell gets pushed that little bit extra off?
It could
Quite
be.
Possibly. It's hard to say.
So Stillwell takes to the grass big time on the outside of turn 2, which allows Scharf to go around the outside of him at turn 3, and Goffery very nearly follows Scharf through, but can't quite manage it. Stillwell hangs on to that third spot, but what a dramatic change. Led most of this race, and now suddenly demoted to the third spot. John Collier in that 88 car, who's been looking strong, is taking the lead, and Scharf in the 16 car, who's come up from 5th on the grid, is now lying a very, very close second, and Goffery is now giving Stillwell a very hard run for that third spot.
I thought Scharf was the fastest moving car on the track there in the middle part of the early going, and it's obvious that he has carrying a little bit of momentum, and the fracas among the leaders has allowed the battle for 5th and 6th to close in. So suddenly Stillwell in that red car that you see running third right now has dropped out of the lead, which seemed to be almost like rock solid for him, David.
It did indeed, but of course look how that has dropped him and Goffery back into the clutches of the 68 car of Leo Capaldi, who's being followed very closely by Peter Frank.
Sometimes, even if you're running in the back, if you have momentum, you can come up, and if your luck is with you and your timing and everything else, you can make a move like Scharf did. Ooh, look at that. Scharf is bidding to make a move now up the back straight. He had a terrific exit speed out of what's called Moss Corner.
Slow car on the track there. That's the number 87 car. That's John Annis from Tampa, Florida. I know John Annis. I didn't realize he did this series.
A lot of drivers from the south.
Yeah.
In the series. No,
and the temperature here today in Mosport about the same as it will be in Tampa too. Extremely hot here this afternoon, and very unusual and sudden too. It wasn't hot this morning, and suddenly this afternoon it really heated up, which won't really affect these cars too much, but it will affect the drivers.
Yeah, exactly. John Collier leading now from Keith Scharf, who made such a terrific bid. You see him in that Valvoline sponsored car running in second. Good.
Warren Stillwell catching up now again with Scharf. No doubt Stillwell's father egging him on from the pit sidelines there. His father preparing the car for him.
Lap 14 down of 20, 6 to go. So there's a great deal of racing. I mean, we're only at the 2/3 mark roughly here. We've seen several lead changes and a real complexion change in this race just a couple of laps ago. Another car off is
Dominic DeLuca. He's also from Florida too, so a lot of cars up here from Florida. He's just making sure that everything's still attached to the car.
He's been black
coming out in front of the leaders. Let's hope he
all he sees them, thank goodness. He was black flagged earlier. So it may be that he's got some mechanical problem that we spotted. They're all streaming by him there.
And top 6 very, very close together now. It won't take much of a mistake by any one of those to allow the rest of the field to stream by.
But the field is so tightly bunched all through that it's unlikely that we're going to see any lapping. I mean, the track remains clear ahead as John Collier leads on the 14th lap here in Mosport, Canada. Historic racetrack, David.
Stillwell now. Look at Stillwell using the draft from both those cars in front of him.
Oh.
Sharp goes down the inside of Collier. So
this is a big move right here. Scharf now leading the race for the first time. Stillwell thinks better of trying to make the move up the inside of Collier. Hangs back a little bit. Collier has lost the lead to Scharf. Very exciting move. Scharf absolutely underlining my thought that he is the fast car on the track right now.
He is indeed, but Stillwell obviously had designs on doing that very thing himself coming up the straightaway, drafting off those 2 front cars, but of course Scharf blocked him out by taking the inside line himself.
Let's take another look at it. This is really great racing. Stillwell in 3rd there in the red car. Watch him take a look and try to set up a move of his own, but it's really Scharf that has the momentum. Stillwell goes with Scharf, hoping to get by Collier on the inside. We are working lap 16 now. There is the moment when Scharf takes lap 17. We're taking as Scharf takes the lead.
I thought so too. Did you see in the background there was a yellow flag? That could cause a problem.
I missed it entirely.
Yeah, the marshal standing at the side of the road there with the yellow
So
flag.
in other words, you think it's possible that Scharf took the lead under a yellow flag?
I do indeed. And look at this now. Stillwell loses a position to Goffrey there down into that turn 5-6 complex. So Stillwell from the lead now running in 4th.
And the cars that were running 5th and 6th have now closed up and are in touch with the leading group. That's what happens when you start mixing it up, because you lose time. Scharf now a clear leader as John Collier pulls out to make a move as they go up the long straight. Sensational racing from
He's going to have to go the long way around. He's going to have to go right around the outside of the coming right-hander.
But he's got some speed, David, as they go over the crest. If he's got the nerve, he might just turn in and try this from the outside. And yes, John Collier is attempting an outside pass. Unbelievable.
Whoa, but he's
Keith
way
Scharf.
offline now for the next lap.
Oh, but Keith Scharf cut way too far over to the left. I don't know why he did that. I think he could have made life a lot tougher for Collier, but they obviously drive to a credo that they don't hold each other up if they can help it, because that's how you lose ground. A terrific battle for the lead here in Mosport, Canada, as the Spec Racer Formula Ford Pro Series continues. We'll be back for the finish. Historic track that David Hobbs may never have seen a battle any better than this one. We have just a few laps to go, lap 18 of 20 we're working right now, and the battle for the lead has been intense.
Neil Tilbor there in that yellow car has dropped off the pace, and here we'll see the pass again coming up the straightaway. John Collier goes around the outside of Keith Scharf, gets himself in the wrong place, you would think, because they're upcoming to the top of the hill here, and over the crest there's going to be a long right-hander, and certainly Scharf would certainly seem to be in the right place for a right-hander, but no, John Collier keeps his foot in it, sucks up a huge amount of breath and goes right around the outside, and of course that ends him up right over to the left-hand side of the track where he does not want to be really at that stage. Goffrey tries to follow him through, doesn't work, and Stillwell now trying
a bit on Goffrey as they go up the back straight. Stillwell on the left there in that red car, now temporarily at least in 3rd place. Stillwell car number 28 there, the red one, but he too is badly positioned. You don't want to start these turns from the outside with a driver inside of you, because you just get squeezed out.
But Scharf did it and got away with it.
Scharf did it, that's true. Collier did it. 2 men did it, so it can be done.
Collier did it, sorry, yeah, too Scharf. And Stillwell thought he'd try it, but he just sort of a little bit gave up there. He thought maybe this is a good idea after all.
Yeah, and I guess Dad in the pits breathed a sigh of relief. It's got to be tough.
Dad can't see this, luckily for Dad.
Yeah,
not yet, no, he will see it, of course, on
John Collier doing a beautiful job from Madison Heights, Michigan. John Collier from very nearby here in that blue car number 88.
Oh, Collier gets
as I praise him, and there Scharf tries to take advantage of the situation.
That's Jared O'Malley, another man from Austin, Texas. So boy, there's a lot of people come a long way for this race today.
Round 2 of a 5-round championship.
Oh,
watch that there.
He tried to go on the well, now you watch, he's about to hit that service road. This car's going to jump a foot in the air at least. Boom.
Oh, goodbye nose.
there.
section there.
Wow, yes, not very nice for the car.
Remember, the cars have cost about $20,000. I wonder what a new nose section costs.
They probably need to shave that service road off there. That's the second car we've seen do that this weekend.
Makes no sense. All right, John Collier in the lead now, still from Sharp, but we have seen Sharp has a lot of life in him, David, and this race is far from over.
And Stillwell's a winner here too. Now he's going again around the outside of Godfrey as they go up the hill, and he squeezes in front as they come to that right hand. He snags away third spot. But
there goes Godfrey down the inside. What? And Godfrey's going to be well positioned here. No, he hits a curve.
Stillwell's going to be well positioned.
Unbelievable. I think if Godfrey hadn't hit that curve, I still like where he was on the racetrack.
And he just loves that coming up the...
Oh, look at that. A huge slide. White flag, 1 lap to go. Final lap for the leaders. Derek is with Keith Sharp's crew chief. Derek, you're with a man who must be very tense at this point.
Mark Funk is right here. Mark, only 1 lap to go. Does he have enough to take the lead back?
I don't know. I hope he does. Keith's a good driver. He's real smart. He's in a real good position right now to take it back.
Okay, boys, he thinks he can maybe get it back.
Well, I think...
Whoa, John Collier there taking to the grass on the entry of turn 3. Losing a little bit of momentum there. All he's got to do is now keep a really cool head. And I don't see how Sharp can get around him. But, boy, these cars are so evenly matched. It just takes a minute.
Well, here's the key moment, don't you think, David, as they exit this hairpin? If Sharp has any chance at all, he's got to get this just exactly right. Set up the slipstream, the draft on Collier, and then make his move. So a move such as the one Collier made on him 3 laps ago, maybe around the outside.
And Stillwell's not quite close enough to mess it up, because Stillwell, if he was a little bit closer, he could try to make a move. Now, look at the Sharp now, using that draft.
All eyes on Sharp there.
Collier's got all eyes on Sharp too. I tell you, looking in that mirror, he won't be leaving many holes anywhere. Sharp goes down the inside.
With Stillwell behind him. Stillwell trying to follow the right guy.
Collier does it again. That incredibly wide through that turn 9.
Oh, Collier now just 1 turn from victory. John Collier, if he can hang on, will have a wonderful victory for his record book. Here he comes, John Collier with Sharp desperately making a bid, but no. John Collier from Keith Sharp with Stillwell, the defending champion, having to settle for 3rd.
And Godfrey, the championship leader, settling for 4th. But what a close race amongst those top 4 guys.
You will not see better racing than that from here in Mosport, Canada, or anywhere else. Keith Sharp with his hand in the air, obviously delighted at a great drive, even though it just took him to 2nd place. He had led briefly. John Collier the winner, but we will be back from Mosport, Canada. One of the most exciting races in a long time. This was the battle for the lead that settled the issue. You see John Collier on the right. This was the last lap. Keith Sharp in number 16 made a bid up on the inside, but Collier hung on the outside and went on to take the win. Keith Sharp had to settle for 2nd, and Stillwell, Warren Stillwell there in the red car, settled for 3rd. But the race went on battled like that throughout, and it was very exciting. Derek Daly is in the pits.
And the man with a big smile on his face is John Collier. John, that was hard work, but well worth it.
You're not kidding. I was working my butt off. These guys did an outstanding job. I feel really lucky just to end up in front. It could have been anybody's race.
Now, did your car have an advantage in any particular corner on the racetrack?
Yeah, it was kind of strange. We were all fast in different places. You know, I thought my car and Warren's car had a little bit of an edge on the back straight, but not much at all. I seemed to be hooked up at the corner at the end of the back straight. I could hold the outside, and Keith wasn't able to, follow through when he got underneath me. And I was a little bit quicker than Warren in 3, but the other guys like Jim Godfrey and Keith were both fast in a lot of other places. I seemed to be struggling getting onto the back straight. The really slow stuff I wasn't as hooked up in.
Well done. Go taste the champagne. Back to you, fellas.
Well, Derek, we talked about how hot it was. You see the breeze there blowing in the flags, but it was hot, and you could see it on John Collier's face. John Collier wins from Keith Sharp, a great battle. Warren Stillwell, last year's champion and pole sitter here today, had to settle for third place. James Goffery was in and out of the action all day, drove a beautiful race. And Leo Capaldi, I think, might have had a real shot at the lead had he qualified better, but he was back and had to battle just to finish where he was. Peter Frank moved up steadily and had a beautiful drive. Here we are, and you see the entrance to the pits this afternoon.
There you see 6th through 10th. That's Peter Frank and Neil Tilmore in that 8 car. They got left behind just a little bit towards the end there. Bob Boudinot came out in the top 10. It's a wonderful circuit here for any sort of driving extravaganza, and of course these guys just put on such a heck of a show this afternoon. There you see Chris Funk. Chris Funk, in fact, is lying second in the championship, or was going into this race. That 13th place is not going to do him much good at all.
No, it's going to really reshuffle the championship.
I think it will reshuffle it significantly. Cameron Earnshaw back there. Not the same as Earnhardt. We saw a bit of Dale Earnhardt type driving this afternoon from Goffery, and of course from our winner, John Collier.
The fans, of course, absolutely love this race. 39 cars in the race. You see David Donovan finish 16th. Battles all the way through the field throughout the race. Run on this hot afternoon. The weather cleared at the last minute, and suddenly it was in the 80s here in Ontario, just north of the lake. You
could see that from John Collier's face. I mean, he had to work very hard, and that last effort when he held Scharf off at the top of the hill was absolutely outstanding. Scharf had the line on the inside. It was a right-hander, and Collier went the long way around and managed to hold him off.
This has been the action from Mosport, Canada. We will be back in just a moment with more. This is David Hobbs and Sam Posey.
In the corners and keep up your momentum as opposed to scrubbing off speed, because that's a good way to lose the pack.
Do you think as a driver it teaches you an unusual discipline or a technique to drive the cars that are so even and be successful in them?
Oh yes, there's a definite technique. Scrubbing off speed in the corners will get you nowhere. Smooth and consistency is the name of the game.
And it is for the Valvoline car. Finished second today, and he's enjoyed the champagne. Tell me this just one more time. Do the engines develop enough power to get these cars in trouble, or is there so much grip that you really can't get yourself in too much trouble?
No, you can get yourself in trouble, because these are 1,600-pound cars on fairly thin tires with about 112 horsepower, so you can feel the back end break loose off the corners, and at high speed the car will want to skate away, and that's why the chassis setup is so very important, because that's basically our only adjustment for the car.
Well, his chassis setup was obviously good today. Back to you, fellas.
Derek, thank you very much. That was a fascinating interview. It's interesting, David, how they talk tactics. Let's have a chance. This gives us a chance now to look at the last lap and a half. You see the battle for the lead between John Collier in the blue number 88 car, who would go on to win, and Keith Scharf in the white number 16 car, come so desperately close to second place.
And Keith Scharf, of course, his team manager, Funk, in the pits, said that he thought he was perfectly placed to take the lead, and this is why he thought he was perfectly placed. Drafting John Collier up the straight, this long uphill straight. Scharf is right behind him, and then as we go through this little right-hand kink, coming to that crest at the top of the hill, there's a right-hander. He moves over to the inside line. Stillwell follows him now. In theory, he'd be in the right place. This is where Collier got around Stillwell, but no, Collier is extremely brave and keeps his foot right in it, goes the long way around, and then still manages to hang on to the lead.
Hangs on to the car off that bad exit that he had. He got a little slide, Collier did, and yet he hung on to it. And you see Scharf desperately make a bid down the inside, which failed. I mean, he probably knew that would fail.
And Goffery tried also to get around Stillwell to take away third spot, but Stillwell hold third spot. That has changed the championship. Well, it hasn't changed the championship. Goffery still leads by 2 points.
And now Derek Daly is with Warren Stillwell, who finished third. Derek?
Yes, indeed, and the man who we thought may win this, because Warren, for so long this afternoon you dominated and you won this for the last 2 years, but not just quite close enough.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was good to be on the pole. We ran real fast on Saturday morning. I thought, okay, another year, here we come. And qualifying came down, and the field tightened up tremendously, and I said, uh-oh, this is going to be a tough race.
Was there a key moment in the race where you lost control of the possibility of winning this?
Well, I always think that, you know, if you get out front, you start to put together good laps, concentrate on each turn, you can start to pull away from everybody. After 4, 5, 6 laps, I said, this isn't going to happen. It's going to be a dogfight down to the end. And then all of a sudden, I hate to say it, you get into dogfight mode, and you stop concentrating on fast laps, and you're just fighting the other drivers. And these cars are so competitive. We're out there sailing around the turns. And you go down through turn 2, which is so blindingly fast, you lose the tail end a little bit. That's actually where I went off. John got inside of me just a little bit, I mean, and I just kind of lost a little bit of concentration, rode around the outside of the turn. That's when Keith and John got by me. And at that point, I said, boy, I better hang on for third. You know, your mind starts working. You got to keep fighting for position instead of fighting for the victory and the podium finish or the first place.
One of the great things is to see your dad, how involved he is. Do you regard him as your crew chief?
Oh, yeah. He works on the car all the time. We discuss what could be happening to the car, you know, make the changes, and we record everything and discuss it. It's a lot of fun. We do it together. My dad and my mom comes about half the races. It's a lot of fun.
Let's talk championship. Do you think you can catch up and pull the championship away?
Well, I tell you what, we were off to a bad start. Down in St. Petersburg, we were leading almost every lap of the race. About 3 laps from the end, made a mistake, hit the wall. The only thing I thought of was the championship. You know, watch Jim Goffrey take 20 points away, and that's pretty tough to do. But so I came here thinking I better finish ahead of Goffrey for one and get on the first place to get 20 points back, and it didn't happen. But I know that this is it's a fairly long season. Anything can happen, you know, and we're going to that's our goal, of course, is go for 3 championships. But it's fun.
And I think, fellas, he showed today he has the speed.
No question about it, Derek Daly. And we have seen a tactical battle for the lead that was absolutely thrilling. You see the unofficial results there. Warren Stillwell, who we just heard from, in third. We will be back with a wrap-up in just a moment.
Phenomenal battle, but Jim Goffrey, you still finished 4th, but take away the championship lead. You got to feel good.
Yeah, I do. It's you know, I didn't want to come home with a 4th place finish, but I sure like the points. So if I can be consistent all season long, I hopefully have a shot for the championship.
Consistency is what he's after.
Well, consistency certainly paid off for the 3 men that led this race: Warren Stillwell, John Collier, Keith Sharp, David Hobbs. I think we've seen, as you see the finish there moments ago, one of the better races we're ever going to see here at Mosport.
Well, these cars may not be the fastest thing on 4 wheels, but certainly that was one of the most exciting and intense races I've seen for a long time, and very, very tactically and well won by John Collier in the 88 car, and brilliantly driven by the 16 car of Keith Sharp, who came second.
Only 3 men led this race, but you'd never have known it. For David Hobbs and Derek Daly, this is Sam Posey from Mosport, Canada, saying goodbye and thanks for being with us.